Welcome to Winners on a Wednesday. This week we've got two absolutely awesome guys in, a great couple. We're going to be talking about Rent2Rent. So please welcome onto the show, Jordan and Jess.
Thank you very much for bringing us down here, Samuel.
Really good to see you again. So you guys are killing it at the moment. Why don't you just tell me, before we go on to talk about what you've done, what you've built up, maybe just tell me your backgrounds. So what's your backgrounds before you got into property?
Yeah, I'll go first. So my background, basically leaving school, I'm real passionate about cars. So I went straight down that route. I left, I went into the apprenticeship and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to go to Formula One. So I was working for McLaren. And then at some point I kind of decided that, I want to achieve more and, just get into the next pay grade. And that wasn't really enough for me. So then I started, actually, funnily enough, I went home after a night shift. And I started tapping into YouTube, how to make money, and then how to make money in property come up, and how to invest in property. And it was one of your videos, because it was like, I think it was like a millionaire at 21 or something like that.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah.
It was one of those videos, and
Davinda interviews me in the garden. Yeah. It's the most random video, but it's had about 74,000 views.
Yeah, but it comes up like first one. So that brought me straight to you. Basically, that was, and then from there. Watching their videos, that's when I knew from that point that I wanted to get into property, learn more about it, come down to do some courses and get involved, and that's how I was going to build wealth.
Awesome, man. So your background is kind of like cars.
Yeah, for sure.
Watched the video on YouTube, came down, met me at the crash course. How about you, Jess?
Mine's kind of all over the place. I've been in and out of jobs since I left school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I know is that I hated working, a 9 till 5. I just hated being bossed around by other people. And I've been in some estate agent jobs now, so learning the ins and outs of that sort of thing. But how I got into property was Jordan actually begged me to come to the first seminar I ever went to. And that's how I learned from there. I've been open-minded and
cool.
ever since.
Love that. And you guys are not old. How old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking?
22.
22. Like the song Taylor Swift. Epic. So that's your kind of background, young, hungry entrepreneurs. Yeah. I know when we met, you were like saying, I do not want to be working for someone forever.
You remember.
You were like, I'm the man. So it's kind of talk. I know we've done some one-on-one training as well. To be fair, you've been to the crash course. Yeah. You've been here in the offices for training. So why don't you just tell us? Because when you tell me about the crash course. Tell me about what happened.
Yeah, we got a lot to say
happily. The crash course is amazing. So. Me and Jessica have actually both done training before the crash course, both paid and free as well. And the thing about the crash course is awesome. I literally remember our conversation after the crash course when we came out. We was like, this is the best course, like all rounder, just for sheer value, because that's what it is, just sheer value. I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So we've paid thousands of pounds for courses in the past, and nobody has ever shown us like, okay, so here's Rightmove, and here's how you find a deal step by step. This is what you click on. This is what you do. This is how you find it for a HMO, a single let, a lease option. I didn't even know finding a lease option was possible on Rightmove. I didn't know the technique, did not know how to do it. And then also, at previous courses, people tell you sort of what to say and stuff, but it's kind of like there's always a mist, a bit of a cloud, like what if somebody says this, what somebody says that. But I know at your course, you literally just pick up the phone and do it there and then live on several occasions. You just pick up the phone and you just go for it. Some good response, some bad response, it's real life, and we can see how you react to it. And for me, that was just a massive learning point. I'll never forget it.
Oh, man.
Remember it.
I appreciate that, bro. You know what? Respect, bro. Respect. No worries. I try my best.
How about you? Do you feel the same?
Yes. For me, 110% yes. There was another thing that I remember. You said big energies, big money. And you actually said, whoever's a millionaire, come up on stage with me right now. And I immediately ran, and Jordan immediately ran, and we were doing all that silly dancing on stage. Yeah. And you really made us feel like really confident, because we would never do anything like that. I know I wouldn't get up on stage and dance like an idiot. Yeah. But you just made us feel like it was a really safe environment, and you could do anything. Yeah. So that's how you made us feel.
Absolutely, because there's a time to be serious. There's a time to have fun, and if you're not getting out of your comfort zone, how are you going to pick up the phone and do a deal?
Exactly. And that helped us a lot, because it did help us pick up the phone, didn't it? So
it was a massive point for us. And I would say as well that the crash course, it's not just a property course, it's a phenomenal experience, because our goal ultimately is to become wealthy, right? And I remember at the crash course, towards the end, you were teaching like the fundamentals of wealth. So like bank accounts, how to set up your bank accounts, how many to have, this sort of thing, and then like to pay yourself first and that sort of thing. So that really helped us out as well. So
Awesome.
we took a lot from the crash course.
I love that. I really appreciate that, guys. And then after the crash course, I know you started implementing, you started putting together your business plan, and you started vlogging the journey. Check them out on Facebook. Started vlogging the journey, and then you thought, you know what, you really thought you'd fly more by doing a little bit of one-to-one coaching. So you came to the offices. What did I say when you presented your business plan to me, Jordan?
So basically, you just went like that and you just tore it in half. So we came in really, you know, bubbly, happy, over the moon with this mega piece of art that we put together, and it was a business plan, and basically it had so much stuff on it. It was a bit of a mess. Now we see it was a mess because we had, like, you know.
You were so proud of it.
I know, we were so proud. We were so proud. He was like, "You're going to do this, I'm going to do that." There was SA, rent-to-rent, lease options, BMV, deal packaging, a lot. And then you just basically goes, "Guys, tore it apart," and he goes, "Look, we just narrow it down, focus on something, on," and we went with Rent2Rent all together, and very quickly after that we started getting results.
Man.
When we focused and honed it in,
because you had all these. Because the thing is, sometimes with property, especially when you start going on property courses, you can be like a kid in a sweet shop because you can be like, "Oh, that's a great strategy. That's a great strategy.
Exactly
that's good."
We didn't want to like spare any. We wanted to just
do everything. Or like, and they say if you try and chase 2 rabbits, you'll catch none. Because so when you just say, you know what, forget that. What focus is focusing on one thing at once until successful, and then you can then see what's next. And you know, I think that was what I gave you was good advice because it's clearly worked. Because now you've how many Rent2Rents?
We've got 5 now.
5 Rent2Rents. High five, man.
Thank you.
And on average, how much is each Rent2Rent kind of bringing you in profit?
So on each one, I would say around 750, between 700 and 800 pounds, all of them. So in total, once they're all fully let, we're bringing us about £4,500.
That's incredible.
So it's nice.
And you say once they're all full out because you've literally, I mean, you're picking up the keys to one.
They came in like 2 months. A lot of them.
We took our first one in November. We're now in January, so 2 months. We've just signed for 2, so they're coming within the next couple of weeks. We've got 2 fully let. One's going through a refurb, and it's already got loads of viewings coming in, so that'll be fully let real soon. So.
And I remember seeing the pictures on Facebook when you first got the property, you got the keys, and then like a couple of weeks later, there's another picture where you're there outside the house going, "It's fully let." You know,
it's a good feeling, man.
How does it feel seeing the money actually coming in?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's nice.
It's so good. Like literally, it's weird because it's almost like you don't get too much time to reflect. But then when you do think back, it's like, wow, now we've got properties and they're paying us. And I'm not working anymore, by the way. I'm full time now, so
that's just incredible, bro.
But it's all happened. It's like it's happening quickly, but it's weird, but it's amazing.
And when did you just to get timescales right? When did we first meet at the crash course, and when did you do your mentoring? Session?
We met. When was the crash course? I think it was like back end of the summer. Was it July or something? I think
maybe that's 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah. We done our mentoring soon after that. Was
like September, October?
Yeah. Very quickly after,
And then we got our first deal in. We got 2 deals in November, and then 3 in January.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's so exciting. So you've now quit your job because I mean, £4,500 a month. That's a pretty decent. I mean, for some people that's 2 salaries. And that's not quite fully passive, but it's close enough because you're managing them yourself. Is that right?
We are at the moment.
And where are these properties?
They're all in Coventry.
And where do you live?
Coventry.
Fantastic. Because that's another thing. You know what? I teach that it doesn't have to be close to where you live because it might just happen that you live in an area which isn't particularly good for you. So don't rule out investing elsewhere. But I think sometimes people take that to the extreme, and then everybody's looking like really far up north, or scattergun, which can work. But I think it's really good to see people actually in their own area with one strategy. Smashing it out the park. I mean, Coventry's not too far from I go to church in Coventry. I mean, I know you've even joined us.
We met there.
So, you know, tell me how are you finding these properties? Who are the landlords you're speaking with? Give me some advice. Give us some nuggets.
Yeah. So we've got how many different landlords? There's 3 different landlords. So 2 of the properties have come from direct to landlord, so that was through direct mail campaigns. And the other 3 have all come through agents. So we call up agents, find the properties we like on Rightmove, call up the agents, go for viewings with them, build some rapport, let them know, you know, that we're serious about what we do and we're looking to take on a lot of properties. And then then they just they basically could trust us, and we went ahead with the first one that went really well, and then they gave us 2 more. So
incredible. You know what I always say: a good relationship is better than a good deal.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, if you think about it, you're now making $4,000 plus a month from just 3 landlords.
Yeah, exactly.
Three
Exactly.
people.
And
there's 7 billion people on the planet.
It's so true. And on many occasions, landlords have more than one property. So the first landlord we got the property from, he gave us the second one after that, and he's got about 20 in his portfolio. And it just so happens that those 2 weren't let at the time. But now that he can see that we're adding value to his house, we've decorated the place, and he can trust us, and we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, I think he'd be willing to work with us even more in the future.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. I'm really proud of you guys. Tell me a little bit about how much money did you have to start with to invest in this Rent2Rent portfolio? Did you have a big part? Did you have nothing?
I'll let you go because I'm doing a lot of speaking.
Not a lot. How much would you say we had to start? When we took our first Rent2Rent on, we had nothing.
We didn't. No, we didn't have any money.
We got it direct to landlord. We negotiated with him a 2-week rent-free period because we simply just didn't have the money to pay him straight up for the rent.
So hold on. So you had a landlord. He agreed to give you his property on a Rent2Rent basis,
Yeah.
and then you had to renegotiate to have it free for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
how did you do that? What did you say to him?
What happened was I was going back and forth with him for a very long time, emailing, calling, trying to break down the figures to him and say, this whole figure you're getting is not what you're getting after the voids, after maintenance, after all of that. And then finally one day he picked up the phone and said, I want you to come around my house and have a chat with me.
Yeah.
So me and Jordan put on our best suits, went round there, and we got grilled and interviewed for about an hour.
Yeah.
And then he gave us the keys the next day. So
Wow.
we negotiated with him there.
So you obviously handled yourself super well in that
we did.
hour. And I think that's as well, like you guys coming from a position with very little money to invest, but then the little money that you did have, spending it on training. So that then when you're in a situation whereby you're getting grilled for an hour.
That's where the practice and the training really comes in.
It does.
Yeah. So okay, so you negotiated 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For anyone that's watching this that's thinking, what on earth? Like, what is Rent2Rent? And you started with nothing, and now you're making $4,000.
Yeah.
Maybe just summarize to anyone that's not quite sure what is a Rent2Rent, and what, because you're not doing serviced accommodation, are you?
No, we're not.
You're doing
We're just doing HMO.
Yeah. So tell us what a Rent2Rent is.
Okay, so essentially what we do is we rent a property as a whole from a landlord. We negotiate a rent up front, and then we agree on that rent. We'll take it for a long period, usually between 3 and 5 years, and then we'll guarantee that rental figure to the landlord for the entire length of the contract.
Yeah.
So regardless if we have a room empty or not, that landlord is now never going to experience a void because we've made a commitment to him or her. And so then we take that property and we rent it out as a HMO on a room by room basis, which then maximizes the profit. So we've got enough then to cover the bills. So we cover the bills in our service, and then we pay the landlord, and then there's profit left for us afterwards as well.
Fantastic. Love that. Great explanation there.
It's simple. It is very simple.
It is. And is that completely legal?
It is, yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's legal simply because of the fact that we have the right contracts in place, and we have a limited company in place which acts as the management for the property. So
So because sometimes again people say, is that legal? That sounds like subletting.
Yeah, we've been through a lot of estate agents where you call them, you want to see, and they're like, no, you can't see it, and that's subletting, and you've got to. Some of them you don't get past, you simply don't get past them. But some agents you will be able to say, let's meet up at the property, talk, explain it to you, and then they do understand.
Because you've managed to win over an estate agent and a couple of landlords, which is great. So what are the risks associated with Rent2Rent?
Obviously there's risks if you don't do your market research and your due diligence so much. You've got to do your research properly to make sure the area you choose to invest in has demand there, because the last thing you want to do is take a property from a landlord, spend some money on it, adding value to the property so it's all nice and ready to rent out, and then have it empty. That's the last thing you want. So definitely
you're going to be paying the rent each month.
Because you've obliged to pay the rent to the landlord. So you definitely want to do some research to make sure that the area has demand, so you're not going to be losing out on money. I'd say that's probably one of the main factors.
It is.
Yeah. Also, I'd say one of the other main things is if you are taking on a HMO, that's because obviously the laws change where you need HMO licensing. If it is more than 5 people in the property, to make sure the landlord has all the correct licensing in place, fire alarms, fire doors, everything like that needs to be.
It's 5 or more people now, isn't it? Absolutely. And I think as well, like, although rent-to-rent strategy is brilliant if you've got no or very little money, you do need to know what you're doing, don't you?
Yeah, you definitely
Because, you know, if you take on a property and you've got no money and then you can't rent it out and you've not got money to pay the landlord, you could have a lot of sleepless nights. So you've done it really well. You know, you've done your market research. You're operating in an area that you know because you live there.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been trained. You've got the correct contracts, and then it's a case of just ready to smash it out the park.
And then you just learn with everyone as well. We've learned so much from doing the first deal.
We learn new things on
every deal.
Of course. Well, the thing is, I almost feel like, and I'm sure you guys would agree, there's over here, this extreme, this is people that go on courses and don't take any action. And knowledge without implementation will lead to no results.
So true.
But then over here, you have people who take massive action, but they don't take the proper training. They don't know what they're doing. And these people we call motivated idiots that can get really burned. And it's very dangerous. And then in the middle, you've got do the training, you know, read the right books, talk to the right people, get the knowledge, but then take action. And there's a nice sweet spot. And I think you guys have got that just right. And that's why, you know, you got it just right. You know, you've not gone on loads and loads of courses and spent, you know, but you've gone on, you've taken the right steps, you've gone on the right training, you've got the right mentoring. Like you guys aren't even on the academy. I know you did some, you know, a day, which is great, but you're still smashing it out of the park, which is absolutely fantastic. So talk to me as well, because I agree, the best way to learn is to do. So talk to me about some of the lessons that you've learned in doing these deals.
What would you say lesson number one would be? Definitely
do all the electricity and gas first, because we took on properties and basically we've had the property a month and we found out the gas and electricity hasn't actually been changed over because we can't contact the company because they never answer the phone. And then when you do, you're on the phone to them for hours. So I'd say make sure all of that is done.
I'd say take control of that yourself rather than the landlord doing it in most cases to make sure it gets done, changed over properly. What are the lessons we had along the way?
That's a really good lesson. It's one of those things, you know, you probably wouldn't read that in a book. It's just one of those things you just got to do it.
That's one of the things you learn by actually getting the first deal, and now it's like, oh, what do I do now? You
know? The lessons we've learned, always confirm with people who want to view a couple of hours before, even the morning or the evening before, because we've got to viewings and people have said, I'm on my way, 20 minutes, and then they've never turned up. Which is wasted a lot of our time. And it's annoying.
Annoyingly, in 2019, people's word is not their bond. You know, when I started out in property like 10, 12 years ago, if someone said they were going to be there, they were going to be there. But now it's like you got to text to confirm an hour before, 15 minutes before, because you guys are talking about tenants or
prospect tenants,
people that come to do viewings. So,
I mean, even agents are bad.
Agents as well. You know, you just have to check it with people, make sure they're still turning up.
All right. And what's the biggest these are obviously some of the challenges, but in regards to some of the successes, maybe winning the deal or getting the maximum rent, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned through the successes of what you've done?
I think when we took on our first one, we were going to kind of let it out how it was, considering we didn't have much money at all, and we pretty much got the property for free. And then we decided to use credit cards and whatnot and actually do the property up, get it painted and whatnot. And we found that definitely spending some money on the property was a good point for us, because now we do most of them, we'll paint most of them, because you just get it rented out so much quicker. People come around, they appreciate the facts, the little touches that you put in the rooms, the photos and stuff. They really like it. So I think that stuff is really important for getting it let out. It really helps. So that helps to our success in regards to renting the rooms out quicker. In regards to finding more deals, I would probably say, what's the big lesson? Probably just when you're going into viewings and going into meetings with agents and stuff, just, you know, we've always been sort of acted confident and acted like we've done this a million times before, and that served us really well because, you know, they then get the feeling that you're serior about what you're doing and you're going to take on loads, and they might give you too many at once, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do. But I think being confident.
Be confident, have good posture, because you might think I'm saying the wrong things, but they don't know what you're planning on saying in the first place. I love that. So be confident, get the right skills. gas, get the utilities,
sort the utilities out,
confirm appointments.
Yes.
How do you spot a good, like, what are you looking for next? So what is a good deal with Rent2Rent?
I would say so. The minimum we will work out with the minimum amount of profit we want to take is £500. So none of them cash flow that little for us yet, but that's like as low as we're willing to go.
Yeah.
So if there's a deal that comes along that's going to cash flow £500 and it doesn't really need much spending on it, we'd happily take that deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, what we do is we work out sort of, you know, so the ones we've got at the moment, the cash flow is £700-800. That's great. How much do we need to spend on them? So we work out basically. We kind of want to break even within 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you got the deal for 3 or 5 years, you know, you can go longer than that. I know some people go to like 10 months and stuff like that, but we normally hope to break even most of the time within 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's a key.
So what you mean is, if you're going to put down 5,000, then you want to be able to make that back within the first 6 months, which is going to give you a 200% return on investment.
Exactly that, yeah.
So, I mean, and I teach as you'll know, a very conservative, you want to make at least 100% ROI in your first year.
Yeah.
So 200% is fantastic.
Yeah.
So whereabouts as well? Are you looking, have you got a particular street or are you just generally looking around in Coventry?
Obviously we're from Coventry, so we know the area quite well, and we generally in Coventry, we generally invest sort of around the city centre and a couple of our hotspots, just because we're from there, we know where the demand is, sort of thing. So yeah, and then as we pick some up, if we do research on one and the demand's good and we actually get the deal and test it out, then we know that street and that area is good, and we'll happily rinse and repeat in that area.
Do you have any break clause if it doesn't work?
We have, on some of them, if we do put a lot of money into the property with one landlord, we have a first anniversary break clause for 12 months.
Yeah.
Other than that,
initially, so in the contract that we use, if we're going direct to landlord, there's a break clause for us after the first anniversary, so after the first year, but not for them. And then when we go through agents, they usually like to put a break clause in for 6 months in case the landlord's not happy or we're not happy. But because we're prepared to spend money, add value to the property, we explain that, and then we try and we'll get at least a 12-month break clause so that we don't lose out on any money that we've invested.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the ideal setup is if you have a break clause, so you're going to say to the landlord, look, I'm spending 2-3 grand doing this place up. It's a bit dirty. I'm going to paint it, and that's my commitment to you to show that I'm serious. However, if after a year I want to pull out because it's not renting out as well as I thought, I want to have a break clause. It's a 5-year contract, but a break clause to pull out. However, I will leave you the property in better condition than I took it on. So is that the kind of thing that you go for?
That's exactly what it is, and they're happy with that because essentially we are literally adding value to their property, which they own. And on most cases, you know, we're putting furniture in and stuff like that. And the reality is, when it comes to the end of the deal, I can't see us bringing around a van and taking all that furniture back out and moving it to another house. So they're most likely going to get to keep the furniture as well.
Yeah, so. And but that's a really good point, because if you say, look, and I'll furnish it and I'll leave you with the furniture, it's like, oh wow, that sounds great. But come on, let's face it, in 5 years' time, you're not going to want it anyway.
We're not going to want it.
No, that's fantastic. So what kind of contracts do you use then for Rent2Rent? Because I know that's a really important issue.
Yeah, so we've got basically it's I think it's called a lease agreement contract, isn't it? It's a special rent-to-rent contract we've got from one of our courses. So and that's the contract. So it was already, luckily for us, it was already made for us and had all the clauses in there, already overseen by a solicitor and whatnot. So
and it's really important that you use a management contract rather than, I mean, if you just have a normal AST then rent it out on another AST, that's called subletting. So again, it's a really important.
Then it becomes a problem. So.
I mean, the thing when we first went through the contract as well is there was clauses in there that we never thought you'd even need. Yeah. So you definitely need to get the right contract 100%, because if anything did go wrong, literally one thing and we didn't even know that it was in the contract. We wouldn't have put it in there. Yeah. So
I think you can use management agreements, corporate lets, but just make sure that I would definitely advise, and I'm sure you would as well, getting advice on that. And it also depends on what you're doing, and of course every deal is different as well. I mean, with lease option agreements, you need a solicitor. With Rent2Rent, you can use it again and again, but it's got to be right.
That's exactly it.
So what's your what would be your biggest advice for someone who was in your shoes 6 months ago that was thinking, I really want to get my first Rent2Rent deal? What would you advise them to do?
You just need to keep motivated, do your research, go to as many courses and meet as many people as you can. And for us, it was really getting around the right people and basically connecting and meeting up with people who were in our industry of what we wanted to do. So we met up with a load of people who were doing like Rent2Rent, and that's how we basically sort of got our answers to our questions that were kind of just the last little questions that we needed to get that bit further.
Yeah, just speak to somebody who's already doing it, you know. So I would say networking is vital. We literally just recorded a YouTube video on this the other day, and we were saying how vital it is to just stay motivated, keep on going for it, and find people that are in your field doing what you want to do. Have the conversations with them, because when it comes to getting a deal, you're going to be like, oh my god, what do I do now? And if you've got people, there will be people at your local events and stuff that are doing rent-to-rent, or even HMOs in general, and they'll be able to advise you on the next steps and how to go about this and that. So I would definitely say, you know, build some good contacts.
No, that's great. So your business plan 6 months ago, we ripped it up, and we started again, and we said we're going to focus on rent-to-rents. We actually, I think we said from memory, when you're making about 4 or 5 grand a month. Perhaps we can then move on to another strategy. So what's next for you guys?
So we've got a pretty big vision for this year, actually. We actually want to get to 48 rent-to-rents by the end of 2019. Wow. So we want a lot. So we really have focused on rent-to-rent, and now we want to go for it. So this year, by the end of this year, we want 48. That'll be turning over a million plus, and that's one of our goals as well. And then also at some point in the year, we want to be able to step back a little bit, hire somebody to sort of take care of the management, the viewings and stuff like that, systemize it so we can step back and then take on another strategy. We're not sure what yet, but we definitely want to start buying.
Well, sounds to me like you're super laser focused. So which is, and you're now getting results.
Definitely.
Talk to me a little bit about mindset, because I think that one of the reasons I think most people fail is because they talk themselves out of it. They have a bad mindset, that a can't do attitude instead of can do attitude. How important has that been to you, and what advice would you give around that?
Fundamental, absolutely fundamental. I mean, both Jessica and myself, we both write down our goals every single morning and every single evening. So first thing we wake up, last thing before we go to bed. I personally have 19 goals, and I know them all off by heart. I write them down, and that helps me stay focused, because, you know, I've got a very positive attitude, and just listening to audiobooks, reading books about business and the industry, also about mindset and how to stay positive. From other influential people out there, and it's just so important just to stay motivated, and just have the can-do attitude. Just vision sort of where you're going. Know you can do it and it's possible, and then map out a plan of what you've got to do to get there. I don't think you can really do it without being positive and knowing you can do it, and believing in yourself. So.
It's also good that we have each other as well, because if I ever feel down or I'm not doing something, you know, he gives me a kick back up, and likewise. So it is good that we do have each other for motivation as well at the same time.
And we're both on the same mission.
We're both on the same mission.
Love that. You guys are an awesome couple. What advice would you give to someone that was weighing up whether to book on to the free Property Investors Crash Course?
Oh man,
you'd be extremely silly to miss out. No offense.
Like I said, we've spent thousands of pounds on courses before, and we still named Crash Course number 1 just because. I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that because of the amount of value that I just said previously that you get in the Crash Course. So you have to do it. You'd be insane not to.
If anybody ever comes to me on Facebook from our YouTube, comes to me from Facebook and Instagram, how do I get into property? And I'll say the first thing I'd recommend to you before I give you any of my time is to go on the Sam Yudhi's Crash Course.
That's
it's
the truth
free,
as well.
and you'll learn everything you need to on there. I've said that to numbers and numbers of people.
You guys are awesome. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No problem.
Reach out to me anytime.
100%.
I'm super proud of you guys, and you're amazing.
Thank you for bringing us on, Sam.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name's Samuel Leeds. Thank you for watching Winners on a Wednesday. Every single week, we interview our success students for your inspiration. You can watch more right here on the playlist. There's a whole playlist of them. But what you'll notice is every single winner on a Wednesday, it always starts with them coming to my 2-day crash course. So if you would like to be a winner on a Wednesday, literally come on my crash course, and who knows, in 3 months' time, you could be here in my offices on this show as a winner on a Wednesday. So get yourself booked on the crash course, watch more, have fun. I'll see you next week.